So following the A487, needing full backstick there to get the aircraft around the turn. Hopefully we're going to keep visibility here as we come up through the valley.
Hello again guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a little bit of a special one, as not only will it be our first Mach Loop Time Trial in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but we're also going to be celebrating a little bit of a channel milestone. In recent days I had my first video on the channel to surpass 100,000 views. I realise that in YouTube terms that's a pretty modest number, but I thought for the channel at least it was a noteworthy event. This particular video accounts for a significant number of the channel's total views, not to mention subscribers. The video was one of two at the time that really brought the channel out of almost complete obscurity, so obviously I'm very grateful for that. And the particular video in question is none other than my review of the India Foxt Echo Aermacchi MB-339. During that video we took the aircraft on a lap around the Mach Loop, and it was in fact my first entry onto the Mach Loop within a flight simulator. Since recording that video, the Mach Loop is certainly an area that I've become rather fond of, rather familiar with. It's an area that we enjoy visiting quite regularly on the channel. So to celebrate the milestone of that video hitting 100,000 views, we're going to take the aircraft back towards the Mach Loop today. Our last outing in the area in the MB-339 was a little bit more leisurely. Today we're going to be trying to set our fastest possible time as part of our Mach Loop Time Trial series. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Mach Loop Time Trial series, we take an aircraft, put it around the Mach Loop, see what sort of time it can achieve, and see how that time stacks up against its contemporaries. So far we've run a whole host of aircraft in P3D. As I say, this will be our first outing in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Whilst the India Foxt Echo MB-339 is not currently one of the fastest aircraft available in the sim, it is still one of the most fun to fly. It's still an excellent add-on. Other than its lack of top speed, I think the little Aermacchi jet should fare pretty well on the Mach Loop. It's certainly a run I'm looking forward to. One last point to note before we go: during our Mach Loop time trial runs we always use real world weather just to throw in a little bit more of a challenge, obviously make the flight more realistic. That does tend to mean that some runs can be harder than others. Obviously the conditions do make a big difference, and today was no exception. The weather on the Mach Loop was pretty poor, so it certainly made for an exciting and rather interesting run, having to fly a few sections there purely by memory. You may notice as well that the weather doesn't quite match up during the replay as it did with the run itself. Of course, using real world weather, the conditions do continue to change as we record, so during the replay there the conditions had changed quite a bit from the actual run itself. As always, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. As is usual for the series, we'll get the aircraft airborne. I'll give you a brief history of the Aermacchi MB-339 as we make our way up north. So the MB-339 is a military jet trainer and light attack aircraft designed and manufactured by the Italian aviation company Aermacchi. The aircraft was designed during the 1970s in response to an Italian Air Force requirement that sought to replace the service's existing fleet of Aermacchi MB-326s. The 339 was actually derived from the 326 rather than being an entirely new design, and thus the two aircraft share considerable similarities in terms of their design. The maiden flight of the jet took place on the 12th of August 1976, and the first production aircraft were delivered 2 years later. Primarily used for training, roughly half of all the MB-339s manufactured entered service with the Italian Air Force. The aircraft has also seen combat though with both the Eritrean Air Force during the Eritrean-Ethiopian War, and also with the Argentine Navy during the Falklands War. Perhaps most famously of all, the MB-339 has also seen service with the Frecce Tricolori, the Italian Air Force's aerobatic display team. Throughout its lifespan, the MB-339 has seen multiple variants, primarily the A through to D variants, as well as a couple of other variations on the aircraft for export purposes. The aircraft is fitted with a single Rolls-Royce Viper Mark 632 turbojet engine. The engine puts out around 4,000 pounds of thrust and gives the aircraft a maximum speed of around 485 knots at sea level, the service ceiling of around 48,000 feet. The aircraft is capable of up to plus 8G and all the way through to minus 4G, so a pretty robust little airframe. And again, overall I think it should fare pretty well on the Mach Loop, probably just going to be slightly limited by our top speed. Anyway, let's go and find out for ourselves. We'll head for the cockpit as we make our way onto the Mach Loop.
So we're inbound towards the Mach Loop, back in the MB-339 once again, just passing through a little bit of rain here at the moment. Lovely double rainbow off the nose. Then we've got the town of Buckencliffe just passing off on our right. We're going to have to come pretty low here just to avoid the cloud base. Over the road, start stopwatch. and bring the aircraft right down towards ground level again, just to avoid the cloud cover here, and really just to keep us visual at least to some degree with the terrain. It's going to make the run pretty tricky though if we have to make our way through the clouds like this throughout the entirety of our run. Things just clearing up a little bit, following the river for now. Got the B404 bridge just down below us, so the valley should start to curve around to the left momentarily. And you could briefly make out the side of the hill there. You can just see the side of the hill off at our 11 o'clock. Hopefully some of this weather's going to clear up. So far it hasn't affected our run too much. Again, I would say that we've just probably added a few track miles on, having to zigzag our way amongst the clouds. A470 coming just down below us, that's a nice feature. We can easily follow that for most of the run. And we've still got the road just down below us, pointing the aircraft out towards the hill, which we'll use to sight up our turn through Ginas Malthui. There's the hill just off the nose. So far the aircraft very pleasant and easy to fly, just as I remember it being from the previous video. We got the engine completely pegged, so we can't go any faster. Really all we can do here is try and keep the track miles short, and obviously try and avoid pulling too much G. Passing out of the rain clouds for now, that should make the run a little bit easier for the time being. We can relax for just a moment. And lining ourselves up to come up through Bullsh Exit. Looks like we're probably going to have a little bit more cloud cover here as we come down to join up with the A487. Currently doing just over 400 knots. The MB-339 probably going to be one of the slower jets that we've flown on the run to date. So following the A470 down towards the Cross Foxes Inn. Again coming into a little bit of rain, the cloud coverage not quite so thick now though. We've got the Cross Foxes Inn passing just down below us. And pulling hard now, pulling some G to come around to join the A487. Inbound towards the next valley, again passing into the rain. Looking good on our fuel state. We'll overbank the aircraft just to get us back down towards the road, back down towards ground level. Lining ourselves up again to come up towards Llyn-Mingil. And keeping a good eye out here for the turn through Corris Corner. Again, a little bit blocked by cloud there at the moment, but you can just about make out the turn through Corris. So following the A487, needing full backstick there to get the aircraft around the turn. Hopefully we're going to keep visibility here as we come up through the valley. Really struggling now for visibility, and the MB-339's performance capabilities here making the whole section quite a bit trickier. Just not having that much elevator authority here to really get us through these tight turns, and obviously only sighting them at the last minute, so really having to reef the aircraft back here to manoeuvre us out of the run. And thankfully coming out of the weather again now. So visibility becoming much improved. We can see Mach just off the nose. We definitely lost some speed and some time there as a result coming through that last section. Over the road, stop the stopwatch. And once again another very enjoyable, although rather challenging, outing in the MB-339.
So there you go guys, I hope you enjoyed another outing in the India Foxt Echo Aermacchi MB-339. The add-on still holds up very strongly despite it being one of the oldest add-ons now available in the sim. And again, it's a really great fun little jet to fly. Anyway, the MB-339 managed a time of 3 minutes 22.87 seconds, putting it right between the Blackburn Buccaneer and the Gloucester Meteor. And of course that run was rather hampered by the weather, so we'll denote that with a WX. Anyway, no major surprises there I don't think. Once again, the MB-339 is a very manoeuvrable jet, it's really just our top speed that held us back. Obviously we were pretty well ahead of the Gloucester Meteor there, some pretty old school jet technology, although if I recall correctly the Meteor was actually pretty heavily limited by its top Mach number. Anyway, another enjoyable outing in the aircraft and a challenging but certainly fun run across the Mach Loop. Once again guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. If you want to see more content from the channel and you've yet to do so, then please consider subscribing as well. If you have any comments or questions for me, you can leave those down in the comment section below. As ever, a huge thank you to my channel members and patrons for all of your support, it's very much appreciated. And a big thank you to those of you as well who perhaps watched my original review of the MB-339 and you're still here on the channel watching videos today. Anyway, I hope all of you are having a great day, take really good care, and I will see you all again soon.